Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Ramble. I love Reddit posts like this. We're just going to jump straight into this. What OSRS opinions have you like this? And for those listening on Spotify, by the way, all of these Rambles are on Spotify. Go check it out in the description. They are just audio only. Even though Spotify does offer video, my podcasting hosting platform just doesn't allow it quite yet. So who knows, maybe in the future. But basically, there's a guy with his max cape staring at a crowd of 1 billion people, and he is saying in a caption bubble, "Yes, you are all wrong," or "You all are wrong." So I love things like this because it gets the whole Reddit community to start talking about their hot takes. And some of them are just completely out of left field and are just like, "What are you smoking?" But it like sort of allows a safe space. It's not really safe, to be honest, but it's a space to share your controversial opinions, and I think it's great because not everyone's a content creator. Not everyone can just ramble on about their stuff and have a bunch of people hear it. But on a subreddit that we have for old school, we have an awesome system where we can just like share how we feel about the game. So we're just gonna jump into it, and I have really not looked at it. I've seen a few of these, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go into this relatively blind, and I'm gonna share some of my thoughts. And I also want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments. And a lot of you have probably already seen this post because it did pop off, 600 likes, 1.7 thousand comments. First one is sort comments by controversial to get true unpopular opinions. We might do that. I think we'll do that. But let's take it from the top first. Y'all have no idea what AFK means. This has been an ongoing thing for years of people saying AFK, like you guys are saying AFK the wrong way. AFK, it doesn't matter. Like the English language transforms over time, and AFK now means, well, it actually means a plethora of things. But in my opinion, AFK, in regards to old school, means something that is more chill relative to like a sweatier method. That's like all it is. It's just like AFK is like motherlode mine. AFK is also star mining. AFK is also like I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of like Kraken. You know, Kraken's AFK. What is the true? I think the only real true AFKs we have in this game is like star mining. Like that is truly like step away from your PC, and we don't really have many of those. Thankfully, I am against the kind of idleness of old school RuneScape. Don't get me wrong. I think star mining is fine. It's really well balanced in my opinion, and I'm okay with updates like that. But to go down a route where like everything can become idle, I feel like it probably is a slippery slope. Again, I'm open for the discussion on it if people have like good points to bring up, valid points. And again, the game is all subjective, so people that are working a bunch and have families now and are doing all that, they want a game that they can just really, really relax and not do anything on the PC and actually get stuff done. I think this is something I want to bring up. I know Brighter Shores, that game by Andrew Gower, he has designed it to allow you to gain XP without botting, without cheating, without anything when you're offline. I think that's an amazing system for this day and age, where instead of feeling this kind of like thought of I need to squeeze in as much XP as possible, so then you start maybe wanting to cheat, or you maybe start wanting to get an auto clicker, you maybe start wanting to do that. Instead, Andrew Gower's like, yeah, that's probably going to happen, so we're just going to allow a system in-game that allows you to be logged out and gain XP. And that would be something, like that would genuinely be a discussion I'd be willing to have on this game. I know that sounds absolutely antithetical to the old school spirit, but oh my God, like especially playing this new account, I'm running rooftops, and like half of the accounts that are running rooftops for me are clearly botting. Like it's so clear. It's so clear they're botting. You look at their stats, they're super, super wonky. They never talk to anybody. They always have the same like movement patterns. It's very clear there's so many people that are cheating in this game and getting or not getting caught. Anyway, this is a whole separate discussion. I could go on about this for a while, but we got a lot of stuff to cover. But I would be definitely open to the conversation of potential ways to be logged out in this game and to gain some XP. I think that would actually be kind of cool. So again, it would have to be very, very light, and it would have to be balanced, and it would have to fit the old school feel, whatever that means nowadays. Anyway, blackjacking is fucking lame and a waste of time. No amount of GP or XP makes it worth it. This one, okay, I'll be honest, guys. I never on any account have ever blackjacked to train. I think I've maybe tried blackjacking a total of 5 total minutes in this game ever. And I just never liked it. Maybe I would like it if I would have given it a little bit more time. It's the same thing with like chin hunting. I think tick manipulation chins can be a lot of fun, but I've just never sat down and just grinded it. So chin hunting to me has always just like internally been this, I don't want to do that. That's what blackjacking feels like. You guys probably all agree with me. And honestly, okay, you guys are going to have to let me know. Isn't blackjacking not even like menu swap customizable in some ways? Again, I haven't really done this method, but I'm pretty sure you can't even like change your left click and stuff to make it like way more simple like they've done with construction and everything. That stuff is weird. You can beat any content in the game if you actually spend time learning it. That I feel like most people agree with that. I don't know why that's such an upvoted thing, but yeah. Not every new boss needs new mechanics. One of old school's charms is its simplicity. Mod Husky brought this up on the last Sebe cast that I had him on, and I agree with him. Like he was saying, I want more Krakens in this game. I want more just very, very, very chill experiences that are just hit boss, the boss hits you. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a good, I think we have a good balance sort of, PVM being either super, super complex and, just forcing you to learn a bunch of new mechanics. But I'm totally all about getting a Kraken task. I'm all about even something like KQ. KQ is like the epitome of just old school mechanics. Same with KBD. KBD, brilliant. I think when you have a simplistic design like KQ or like KBD, you are allowed to do step unders. You're allowed to do some cool alting methods, generally speaking. I know Coxie loves that kind of stuff. Like he'll do some 8-man alting KQ. It's because KQ is just very simple. It's not like this weird system where they've overly designed it to, remove any capacity to alt or any capacity to do step unders. We actually, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but lately bosses can hit you while you're underneath them. Like that's like a new mechanic they're coming out with, which I'll be honest, is kind of annoying. I like things like Serb. I don't know if you guys have ever tried step unders at Serb. That genuinely makes Cerberus a more enjoyable fight. Having the ability to sweat, quote, it's not even sweating. It's literally stepping under the boss and just getting a nice little rhythmic flow and red Xing. I think it's nice. And nowadays, you can't do that kind of stuff. Even like something like Scurrius, you can't step under. I guess you can step under, but then Scurrius is just going to be whacking you anyway. It's like it registers you underneath it, and it can still melee you. It's very odd, and I don't quite understand where, it's fine, I guess. It's like I'm not losing sleep over something like that, but like, can we go back to the old schoolness of step unders mean you have a break from the action, and if you're panicking, you can actually step under and eat up and like heal. And I'm not saying Scurrius is a place where you're going to be dying all the time, but it's just weird when it's not standardized. Like when you get used to something where you stand under the boss and it's like looking for you and it's trying to get out from underneath you. Can you just imagine KQ didn't have that mechanic? So you're bashing KQ down and then you step under it because it starts hitting you back-to-back 31s, and you step under it and it still melees you like a 30, a 30 or something to kill you. Like how troll would that be? Anyway, I kind of like the simplistic OSRs mechanics with bosses, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. So great. Most of the stuff I agree with. This is the weird thing. All right, let's keep going. This subreddit as a whole has mostly garbage takes on this game, and the game would be best served by completely ignoring it. I don't know. I think that's a real like overgeneralization. I'll be honest. There's actually been some amazing suggestions. Now he is just saying mostly. He's not saying all of it's garbage, but yeah. Agility should be a free-to-play skill. If Jagex wants to convert more people to members, they have to give free-to-play the ability to run, because otherwise people will get pissed off and leave. Yeah, no, I mean, playing back-to-back new accounts, the running situation is a problem. And there are so many different solutions to go about it. I brought up a Reddit post. You guys may have even seen it like a month ago or something, of planting a strange seed in a bush patch to grow strange fruit. So you got a bush patch right outside of the Ardoin Monastery, and then you also have one right outside of the Champions Guild. Artie Cloak 1, Chronicle. Those are the 2 early game stuff. Again, he's talking about free to play. I'm kind of talking about members right now. But those are 2 bush patches where if you could grow a strange seed and pick strange fruit on your adventures, that is just so genius. It just makes perfect sense to allow you to pick fruit, utilize farming, utilize this run energy giving fruit. For those that don't know, strange fruit heals you 30 run and also cures your poison. Like things like that, little updates like that would be amazing and would go a long way. And I mean, with free to play, don't get me wrong, there needs to still be some fundamental changes with run, and they are going to do that. I wasn't a person that went on the beta worlds to test it out, but they are going to be making some nice changes. Hopefully soon. Hopefully, I have a feeling it's going to be around March or something. But you're right. Walking around this game would be painful. Giving free-to-play players agility, what's the best course? Falador, I guess? Would it be the same rates? Is it just Falador rooftops? There's a whole separate discussion when it comes to agility training. I'm pretty sure there will be more agility comments, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I'd be against that. I'm trying to... First person that comes to mind is somebody like Automology or Tanner Dino or just some other people that are dedicated free-to-play players. How would they feel about a brand new skill, agility, coming out? I feel like they honestly wouldn't mind it, but I would need to have a discussion with them, It is okay to follow a guide as an Ironman. Some people, like me, enjoy the checklist that guides like Bruh Sailor or Osiris provide. Let me mention it without the passive-aggressive. You should do what you want instead of following a guide. It is way more fun. I want to follow a guide. Yeah, I think this is brilliant. If you are a guide follower, that is kind of how your brain is designed. Go for it. I'm one of those people that doesn't like the whole, do this. Checklists are like, nope. No. Don't give me the checklist. I just want to enjoy the game. I want to do my own. I want to pave my own path, So I wouldn't even say this is that hot of a take. Maybe, I don't know. Are these hot takes, guys? Let me know down in the comments. Prayer switching and lazy flicking are fun, especially with the stacks you can get in the Coliseum. Gear switching is fun. One tick flicking is awful. I mean, I guess one tick flicking long term can be just fatiguing to your finger. But I mean, I agree with all of this, the gear switching and everything. I don't know. I don't mind one tick flicking. I obviously don't want to do it for an entire Slayer task. That doesn't sound too fun. But I still like that it's a mechanic because it makes perfect sense. If you can one tick a flick by lazy flicking, just turn it on one tick, turn it off. I mean, it makes perfect sense that you could just repeatedly do that. That is one tick flicking. That's all it is. I enjoy it. I enjoy that. You know what? You know what's crazy? Back in Old School's release, there was no such thing as quick prayers. So you being able to flick on, let's just say, 4 prayers. I was just killing a Hispori, by the way, 8KC, no bucket yet. What the hell? No, but having 4 prayers on simultaneously every single tick without prayer loss, that's insane. That was revolutionary. This quick prayers orb was actually revolutionary. If I would imagine a game without this, that would allow one tick flick. One tick flicking really couldn't be a thing. You'd have to really focus on your lazy flicks. I don't know if they even call that lazy flicks. I feel like when I hear the term lazy flick, I feel like I am thinking of somebody that doesn't understand timing, and they just kind of turn on their prayers around the time a boss is going to attack them. So it's almost like I imagine somebody at the Inferno, and they actually have their prayer on for 2 ticks because they're not exactly sure the exact tick timing when a projectile is going to hit them. So, but I think the more I've heard lazy flicking, it is just simply turning on your prayer for that one tick, and still not losing any prayer points. And if that is what lazy flicking is, yeah, if we didn't have a prayer orb right here, the quick prayer, we, PVM in this game, one, would be significantly more difficult, especially in situations where you are just trying to milk every single last prayer point you have, But it would be interesting. I've always thought about that. If we didn't have this quick prayers orb, how much more difficult the game would be. Runecrafting is fine. Yeah, that is kind of a hot take. I feel like Runecrafting, as if you guys have been following my channel for a long time, I haven't posted much about Runecrafting lately. Last year was when I went to town on it. I came out with this idea called the Cosmic Underworld, which just significantly across the board makes Runecrafting worthwhile to train, and it would be more engaging to train. Don't get me wrong, Guardians of the Rift, phenomenal update. If it wasn't for Guardians of the Rift, Runecrafting would be in a very, very, very poor spot. I like the changes they did with the Colossal Pouch. I think that was amazing, even though nobody gets an early Colossal Pouch because we're all unlucky. But it is cool that you could just get it your first pull and then have a Colossal Pouch that, scales off of how many essence can be filled in it. But things like that are nice. I think pouch degradation is archaic. I think that could just completely go. I think it's so stupid. And if you're not completely making it go, at least make it so you don't have to go through like 5 dialogues just to finally get the pouch to repair. The fact that you pay 1 pearl to the person in the Guardians of the Rift to repair your pouches, and she still has to do the zzz, and then like literally go through 6 dialogues to talk to the Dark Mage just to finally repair. Like, what is that? Like, can we just click it and it's repaired? Like, holy shit. Like, this is so weird. Like, I don't blame anybody necessarily for this stuff. We are playing a very charming, archaic, classic, broken game, and some of that stuff, it's kind of weird to change. I mean, do you remember, guys? Do we still have the? Yeah, we still have the green pixel on the construction icon. That is how autistic we are as a community. So, I don't blame anybody for this kind of stuff, and it is ultimately, it's like if the community wants it. But I feel like nowadays, vast majority of the community would love to get rid of pouch degradation. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. All right. Anyway, also, we should be able to buy a needle with pearls. I'm sorry. That's just my take. Can't you buy lanterns with pearls? Can we buy a needle with pearls, please? Leagues needs its own subreddit. I'd be down. I would be so down. And then make a rule on the 2007 skateboard, no posting on it now. I don't know. Maybe that's just my, I don't play League, so seeing all the League stuff. I actually, I end up getting confused about it because there's a bunch of memes that you would only know if you did play Leagues. And that stuff, it always goes, past me. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. Fighter torso is not a must-have. Yeah, it's not a must-have. I agree. Although, if you are going to play sort of with that semi-completionist mindset where you imagine yourself doing master clues in the future, it would be cool to have a torso just locked and loaded for fallow. That's how I see it, sort of. There are certain things RS3 does better than OSRS that OSRs could learn from. Excuse me. I agree. I'm always very surprised when I think I've come up with a unique, brilliant idea. Some of you probably wouldn't think it was a brilliant idea, but then I realize it's actually already in RS3. I'm like, oh, geez, they nail some things. I'm surprised. So, yeah, not hot in my opinion. Fight caves and inferno length are absolute ass and ruins any fun aspect, in my opinion. I'd rather have a 12-wave style such as the Coliseum. I think it's okay to have both, personally. This is a nice hot take because I disagree with it. One of the things that makes the Inferno really, really nice, that Coliseum, yes, you only need 1 quiver, but it feels like you need to repeatedly go back to get your Sunfire Splinters, and if you want to make the Max Cape variant, you got to spend even more time grinding that. And it is more of a GP-based thing, so you can actually just repeatedly do the Coliseum and make money. That can be a money maker, and you're getting rewards. It's great. Inferno, I feel like, has always been a one-stop challenge, and only the psychopaths would return for the pet. Then CAs came out. Then if you felt this need to return to do the CAs, that's whatever. But ultimately, the Fire Cape and the Infernal Cape were genuinely designed to be a one-time completion. So I think it's great to have both formats. And I think in the future, they are going to try to make those kind of shorter wave PVM-based things, even though we're literally getting an endless thing really coming soon, I think in March, that endless enraged mechanic boss. So I like Coliseum, though, because Coliseum really is short. All of a sudden, you're at wave 9, and you're like, whoa, where did that was fast. Okay, we got, 3 more waves. That's crazy. Agility and runecrafting rates should be doubled. Yeah, this is like the hottest thing ever. I'm completely against this kind of stuff. Completely against it. I think it's so stupid to just double stuff for no reason. It makes sense to change XP rates if it means it's going to have better balancing. That always, I actually agreed with Mod Husky in particular. I think he was the one on Twitter that was more vocal about it back in the day when, or not back in the day necessarily, it's just last year, but when they adjusted the rooftop rates, it made perfect sense what they were going for. They were trying to balance out rooftops to make it feel like you're actually progressing when you get to the next rooftop. You're actually gaining a little bit more XP than the last course. And it was very imbalanced at the time. Sears course was what you did. You skipped Paul Nivnich every fucking time. Even Relica was something like, you could just probably skip Relica even, but you might as well just stay at Sears because you got the diary requirement for it, and then go to Artie. It's just really bad. I think it was poorly designed, and I think the way they rebalance it, yes, they improved Artie and Relica's XP rates, which I can fully understand why a really hardcore skiller would hate something like that. But it makes sense if you see it from a broader perspective, in my opinion. Like, you see it from a broader perspective. They're trying to balance out these things. They're trying to make it so the next course feels like a jump in XP. There is a serious problem with rooftops in general. Rooftops are just like one of the least engaging activities in this entire game. Don't get me wrong. It's fine to grind rooftops, especially if you're just like chilling out watching a movie, or for me doing a Sebe cast, the rooftops are the perfect activity for it. But if you really want people to not hate agility with every fiber of their being, we got to come out with some more fun, interactive, rhythmic mini games. Sepulcher was a great addition. I've even been talking on my stream. I haven't made a video of this per se because I kind of want to have some visual elements to show what I'm imagining a new rooftop minigame to actually be, which this rooftop course, if you guys have ever, I'll briefly go into it, but like, imagine a rooftop course, not rooftop, an agility course that's like the Ninja Warrior TV show. You guys know what I'm talking about, where the contestants start on this thing, and then they jump on these little things, and then they do the little monkey bars, and there's balls like, going back and forth, and you got to dodge those. Imagine a mini game that was purely rhythmic. So you're having to step on these platforms at a 2-tick cycle or something, or even just a 1-tick cycle like TOA skulls and running back and forth. Everything is an actual click box that you're clicking, but it's all timing based. So you have just a really fun course that would be the difficulty would be in between, a typical rooftop and Sepulcher. It'd be somewhere in between that, where it's not as intense as Sepulcher, but it's got some nice rhythmic patterns that you get used to, and the more you grind it, the more just fun you start having, the more flow you get into it. Anyway, I feel like just jumping into this without any sort of visuals is actually just a mistake on my part. So anyway, I feel like rooftops, instead of doubling XP rates across the board, we have to design better courses. We have to design better rooftop courses that are engaging and fun, not a hassle to train, not overly intense, just something that keeps you engaged and is fun. So anyway, runecrafting, they're talking about runecrafting as well. I think XP rates are fine. I just think what needs to really be looked at is just rewards. Like, it's got to be rewarding. Runecrafting has to be rewarding. Guardians of the Rift is rewarding. I like that. But a lot of other runecrafting just doesn't feel that rewarding. It feels like it's always better to buy the runes, or it always feels like it's better to do this, Scar Essence. Scar Essence is always going to be best now. But anyway, Slayer is not fun, period. Oh my God. I play this game to have choice and autonomy. Slayer is one of the most annoying skills to me because I have no options. I'm told to go here and kill these monsters. That's it. Sometimes you can do an alternate monster, and of course you can skip once you get enough points, but man, does this system just suck. I would rather incrementally gain Slayer XP by killing monsters normally with increased XP for killing stronger monsters. There is zero reason why I have to go talk to someone just to be given a task when I can already just walk to the monster on my own. Did I mention how it is entirely unprofitable until like level 70? What a slog. I genuinely like RC more because I can go to Guardians of the Rift, do Law Runes, do Blood Runes, anything. I have lots of choice, which I do not get with Slayer. Yeah, Slayer is one of those things that's, there is kind of a divide. I feel like most players enjoy it because, you know, kill monster, XP go burr, you know, number go up, whatever. In my opinion, Slayer can be fun, but only if you grind it not with XP in mind. If I was to grind XP as a skill, as a quote unquote, I need to train this to level something, I would despise it. But the reason I love Slayer, this is my own personal take, like the reason I personally love Slayer is because I have never seen it as an XP grind. It's always something I can relax on. I go kill some monsters. It assigns me something. I go kill it, go get some loot, have fun, enjoy myself. I feel like a big trap that people fall into with Slayer is trying to get to either 99 or getting to a certain level threshold, and then you start noticing how slow everything's going, and then it like starts eating away at you, and all you want are barrage tasks, and even the barraging part isn't even that fun, but you feel like you need to do barrage tasks just to get the maximum XP per hour. Just turn off the XP per hour. That's my take on it. Again, not everyone's brain is wired the same way, but Slayer for me has always just been, I want to chill out. I want to go kill some stuff. Let's have some fun. And the XP per hour is never up. I hate barrage tasks, really. Like, not like I hate them, but like, I don't prefer them. I'm not trying to skip for barrage tasks. I love just meleeing stuff. Like, just going in with a whip and just start whipping monsters. Like, it's just fun. You're just hanging out, you know? Hanging out with the boys. Let me know if you guys agree with that kind of take. That's just, you know, how I see it. So Slayer is fun, in my opinion. That was a great hot take. We need quests at a faster rate. At this rate, we would only get the conclusion of the Kingdom Divided line in like 2030 and Zaros line in like 2040. Oh, geez. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I'm just not really a big like quester, but I know there's a lot of players that are questers. And I think they could probably jump on board with that. Encouraging clogging is bad for the game. Yeah, it is. I agree. It is. But I don't think anybody's necessarily encouraging it. I think it's just the fact that it is in the game and people like number go up. But yeah, there's pros and cons to all these systems. I mean, you guys probably heard my last rambles talking about CAs, talking about the comp cape potentially coming out. It's like there's always pros, there's always cons. And, you know, you got to kind of see like the psychological aspect of adding these systems in game, what it's going to do to the player base and stuff. And again, not everyone's the same. Some people love it. Some people are completely against stuff like this. And we just have a very broad, diverse game. So, you know, we gotta keep the conversations open, which again is why I love this kind of like Reddit post. PKers are fundamentally grifters and bullies, and the main enjoyment to be had by PKing is ruining someone else's enjoyment. If they actually wanted PvP, then the various PvP minigames wouldn't be dead. There is a lot of truth to this, I personally feel like. In fact, literally just yesterday and the day before, I got a rev task. And it was my first time going into the rev caves in over a year easily. And I stepped in there. Immediately, I'm seeing these two people just yelling slurs at each other. You know, fighting, and one of the guys just has a bulwark, and the guy's like, take off your shield, pussy, and all this stuff. And it's just this whole like predator versus prey thing. And every single world I hopped to, there was scouts with weird, inappropriate names, just hopping, trying to scout people. And there's a bunch of gold farmers everywhere that are just, I mean, it's bot infested, it's gold farmer infested. You get harassed. I had I was literally saying this yesterday. I had some guy start bolting me repeatedly saying, give 1 mil, give 1 mil, give 1 mil. It's just like these, I don't even know if it's a real player. I think it's a bot or something, but it's just a fucking shit show out there. And any populated area in the wilderness is a fucking shit show. It's so bad. And it's awful. It's an awful experience. If you're just trying to go out in the wilderness and complete a Slayer task, for example, it's an awful experience. Now, I can already hear the PKers. PKers are like, no, this is great. PKing is awesome. You're just a fucking little beta pussy liberal, you know, like you suck. I hate you. Fuck you. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, if you're the PKer, if you're the predator in the wilderness, of course you're going to want to keep, you know, prey coming out there. Like that is your fun. But like, oh my God, the amount of griefing, the amount of bullying out there, the amount of just racism and just complete degeneracy. And I'm not even going to start with my 3-month rev grind back in 2018. That genuinely like gave me a worse view of humanity, like being out there for that long. Like you genuinely start seeing a different side of like mental illness. I mean, I remember there was people out there that would play, I kid you not, 20 hours a day, and all they would do is rag for 20 hours a day, weeks on end. Weeks on end. Like they actually have nothing else going on other than to crystal bow rag you on repeat and ruin your day for weeks, for 20 hours a day. They'll do anything possible to just ruin your time on this game. It's bad. It's really bad. Now, a lot of people probably have never seen peak degeneracy, and I could continue on this whole like wilderness and PKing stuff, but then you have clans like Rot, just the most degenerate organization of online creatures, and then you just like, oh my God, it just breeds toxicity like the wilderness. Again, I'm totally for PvP. I love PvP, but oh man, there are some serious issues out there. So I'm agreeing with you. Now, I'm not fully agreeing that all PKers are griefers and bullies. So just to be very clear on this, some people love gearing up with the boys, getting in Discord, and having a fun weekend, going to some bosses and, killing some players for free loot. It's whatever. It's how it is. And the fact that you have a game that's like that, it's just, okay, that's what it is. And it sucks for the person that dies because it's the most lopsided, asymmetrical fight of all time. You got one person that has every possible odds stacked against them. It's the most unfair bullshit of all time. And the people that are clanning up have a great time because guess what? They have all the odds for them. Like everything is going their way. So it's a great fun. It's fun. You just got loot pinatas everywhere. It's like, yeah. Anyway, this is the reason why there's so much toxicity out there, because nothing's balanced. Everything's asymmetrical. People like that though, because it's old school. It's the whole, but yeah, there's some serious problems and some serious like culture issues out there too that are just, you got some fucking weirdos. Anyway, sailing looks god awful. I wouldn't say god awful, but in fact, I'm actually, just to give my take, I think sailing's actually, I'm more optimistic for it more than I was several months back in the summer when they were showing off something. But I stated this, I don't know whether it was in a ramble or last cast or something, but I was just talking about like, even if Jagex nails sailing perfectly, it's absolutely perfectly executed to be the best possible thing that the community overall would get behind, you're still going to have the problem that when it's released, people are going to resent it subconsciously. And I'm saying people that, want to get their max cape back. That's really it. Some people disagree with me on this, but I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying there will be a large cohort of players that subconsciously start resenting sailing because they are obligated to do this to continue on what they wanted to do in the game. So it's not going to be just, oh, I get to kind of sail whenever, and whenever I'm feeling like going to sail, I'll sail. No, it's log in, and for the next 3 weeks, grind this. Even if you didn't want it, you're going to grind it because, you're going to be inefficient if you're not getting your max cape back right now. Anyway, so I'm not saying that's a reason to not have sailing. I'm personally kind of excited for sailing to come into the game. I'm trying to remain optimistic. I'm also trying to remain honest with my feedback on this kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried about sailing dropping and then truly seeing a lot of resentment for it. Not by everybody. I feel like actually the majority of players will actually just love it because the majority of players on this game are more casually focused and they're not trying to reobtain their max cape and they're not even trying to grind 99 sailing. I'm more thinking of the players that really take this game a lot more seriously and do think of the 99, do think of reobtaining their max cape. And they're the people that are really vocal on Twitter and vocal on various social media and they'll change the perception of, what sailing's like. So anyway, we can talk about that in a separate ramble. Agility is fine as is. It doesn't need an AFK method or an XP rate boost. Yeah, I don't think it's fine. This I disagree with, but it doesn't need an AFK method. First of all, we already have AFK methods. Those are rooftops, in my opinion. That is AFK, in my opinion. XP rate boosts, I don't think we do. I would love some more agility courses that do offer higher XP per rate, depending on if it's more, you have to put more focus into it. So I think that's great. So yeah, anyway. UIM should be limited to 28 inventory spaces. No suiciding allowed, maybe leagues, noting ability, but with more limitations. Yeah, no. I mean, UIM is fine as is, but I would love some sort of hardcore UIM where, you can't die or else you lose your status. And no looting bag, no POH, no stash unit hoarding. Everything is just your inventory. I've always wanted something like that. Super masochistic, super sadistic, but yeah. You don't need to follow an efficiency guide. It's kind of fun to waste a little time wandering the world. I agree. Wholeheartedly. Hallowed Sepulchre isn't good. Agility is just so bad it makes Sepulchre look good. That is a hot take. I respect it. I respect that hot take. Hallowed Sepulchre is amazing. There's obviously no minigame, no method in this game is perfected. So I do have little gripes with Hallowed Sepulchre, but oh man, it's good. It's some good stuff. I love it. Current Comb says, not everything needs to be easy to get. You'll never get some stuff. You'll get spooned some stuff. That's the game. We don't need dry drop protection. We don't need all new content to have a 1 in 25 for mega rare items because you cry that 1 in 1k is too rare, and I don't have time to play. You grind or just get the drop. Game doesn't need to cater to you. I understand this kind of sentiment, but I disagree with an element of it. Yes, I totally agree that you are not entitled to everything, but we have to design a game where you can see yourself obtaining an item. We don't need to have things this is the kind of thought experiment I like to propose when people are really red pilled on this of no, that just you're not entitled to anything. Fuck you. No dry protection, no anything. What I like to give is this sort of example. If we were to come out with Raids 4 mega rare, whatever that would be, what would be an inappropriate drop rate? What is appropriate hours wise? What is inappropriate? Is 20 hours appropriate for a mega rare? Efficiently grinding that raid. Is that appropriate? Okay, most people would probably say no. Is 20,000 hours inappropriate? Yes, we can all agree that 20,000 hours for a mega rare would be just horrific. Now, all of this is subjective, but the fact that people will concede that there is a certain amount of hours that is completely inappropriate to give in this game, which, if you're not a psychopath, you would agree that 20,000 hours to grind efficiently for an item in this game is just absurd, especially a mega rare, something that's useful. There's a different argument to be made about something like Third Age or just random clogs that have no real impact on your gameplay. But things like PVM upgrades, building up your arsenal in your bank, I, for years, have said that nothing should ever be beyond 200-hour grind. No item, no upgrade to your arsenal should ever be over 200 hours. And we do see things that are over 200 hours. So Nightmare dropped, or if you wanted a specific orb, you're looking at 800 hours. It's out of control. That's way too much. It's too insane. And people that are you're not going to get that item, so just accept it. It's not about accepting things. It's about creating a better game. And in my opinion, a better game is not having items be absolutely extreme. In fact, 200 hours is the absolute upper limit, I would ever say. I am more of a fan of items, even big ticket items, being under 100 hours to get. Because there's so many fucking items to get nowadays. We don't just have Raids 1 in the game and then Zulrah and, whatever else. We have just a magnitude of bosses. We have so many things to grind nowadays. So having one item from one boss take 400 hours to get is absurd. It's so absurd. It's ridiculous. And in my opinion, all items that you're grinding, like a Tebow, for example, should not be over 200 hours if you're grinding it efficiently. It should never be over 200 hours. It is, unfortunately, right now. Nightmare items are still ridiculous, even with a bunch of, buffs to it, buffs to the drop tables. But yeah, I'm so on board with having items be much more obtainable. And I think we actually have seen that lately. Huey's drop table seems very reasonable. Now, again, that's not an end game thing, but I even feel like end game should have reasonable drop rates. But The challenge of endgame is you need really good gear to complete it. You need really high stats to complete it. You need a really coordinated team to complete it. That's not what we saw with TOA. TOA was, you can kind of send it whenever. You can be a mid-level account and start sending TOA. Like, so again, this is going to kind of sound elitist of me, but I've always held this view of, it's not about drop rates being bad at TOA. I think the drop rates at TOA are actually phenomenally like well designed, like at least hours wise when you're seeing it. I'm not talking about every single scaling, but raids needs to be the difficult stuff. If you're getting best in slot endgame items, it needs to be difficult, but the hours don't need to be astronomical. The only reason we scale the hours astronomically is because you have so much of the player base being able to do this content without already having the previous best in slot stuff to grind it efficiently, you know? So anyway, I could ramble on this for a while, but we like 100-hour benchmarks, best in slot, 100-hour best in slot items as like the benchmark is really cool. I think even lower than that in some regard, I think is way better designed. Things that just doesn't feel like you might have to grind this for a year straight. There are items in this game, PVM upgrades, that genuinely take people years to get, and they're playing consistently. I've seen Ironman go 4,000 chambers drive for a T-bow. Like, at some point, it's just like, damn, this game sucks ass. Like, this is just horrible. Now, I've never even been in that position, but I can definitely empathize with it. If you're an Ironman, imagine you made an Ironman and you're like, I'm going to go to chambers and try to get my T-bow, and the T-bow's going to unlock all these things, and you just never get one. Imagine even worse, you go 8,000 drive for a T-bow. That's a legitimate possibility. That is a genuine possibility to go 8,000 solos drive a T-bow. Seriously, that's in the cards. That's unbelievable. That would be the most depressing thing ever. So I'm totally open for the discussion about quote unquote dry protection. I generally am opposed to those kinds of systems. And I think the best way to oppose it is to just make drop rates across the board way more reasonable. Way more reasonable. And yeah, that's just personally how I feel. Efficiency ruins the game. I wouldn't say ruins the game, it just alters the game, and it can be some brain rot. There can definitely be brain rot, but yeah. If you enter the wildy and die, that was your choice. Yeah, this is another one of those like sort of like red pill things where it's just like it's super like a black and white thing. We're going back to the wilderness, you know, kind of discussions, but like you can make a game healthier and better. You know, you can make a game healthier and better. So, you know, you just saying like this is another argument going like to the Ironman argument of like you chose to be an Ironman, so even if the game is in a really poor state, fuck you for choosing to be an Ironman. You suck. You suck, and you deserve every single punishment that's ever placed upon you from this game, from bad game dev decisions. Like, it's your fucking fault. You decided to do this, you piece of shit. Like, you hear that a lot. Like, people get angry at people trying to improve the game for a subsection of players like Ironman. Like, if Ironmen are complaining about the system with blood shards and the system with blood furies and how that just all works, there cannot be any real discussion about this with players like this. You know, I'm overgeneralizing. Of course, not every player thinks like this, and even players that do think like this aren't completely dogmatic in their position on every thing in the game. But Ironmen are trying to have a legitimate discussion about how can we fix blood shards, keep them balanced still, but allow it to not be the worst grind possible, because the game has released a new item called the blood shard that is very, very powerful in situations. And the way you obtain it is the most miserable possible experience. So people just say, you chose to be an Ironman. Fuck you. You deal with it. That is like the most unhelpful thing ever to like. It's just like we're trying to have a healthy discussion on how to fix this stuff, not to just say whatever the game devs decide, you have to deal with it and it's your fault. Like, it's just so toxic. Anyway, I could jump into a lot of these discussions like way more deeply, but I'm trying to keep it a little bit less you know, heated. And I'm heating it up myself. I'm very passionate about this game and certain things. He wasn't even talking anything about Ironman right there, and I was just like projecting it onto him. That's not what I meant to do. But anyway, we're gonna sort by controversial just briefly and just see what happens. Oh no. I'm not even going to read this. It's just too much. I'm sorry. Bots are good for the health of the game overall. That last one actually could have been good, but I'm looking at the shorter ones. Yeah, that's a great hot take. I'm completely against this. Bots. I would love a game with 0 bots. That is like a dream of mine to truly experience a game. Experience a game with 0 bots. Again, this is not a possibility, really. But theoretically, if there was a game with 0 bots, the game would become much more healthy because everything would truly be looked at. Everything would be scrutinized because players are the ones interacting with certain pieces of content. So you're going to have really, really, really shitty, imbalanced methods where people are going to be like, whoa, okay, like this is completely out of whack. And we need to address this and fix the XP rates, fix the reward space, fix all of this because there's no bots grinding this stuff. Like the players are doing it. So as soon as you recognize players are the ones interacting with pieces of content, you can have a much healthier discussion about how to address methods and fix them and fix the game and make it a much healthier place and more balanced and interwoven and just have the economy work a little bit more efficiently and everything. Like I feel like having no bots and having the entire game be player driven would be such a cool thing. It would be devastating in the current game. Don't get me wrong. Like for main accounts, I mean, some prices would skyrocket, some would plummet. It would just be this total shit show. But if from the inception of the game, it was all player run with 0 bots and stuff, I mean, we would have a much better game in my opinion. And bots, I believe, are really poor for the health of the game. GE was a terrible addition. See, this is one of the things where I'm an Ironman, so I don't have that strong of an opinion on it. I think I've always had that kind of view of like, oh man, it would be really cool to just relive the glory days where you go to Falador Park or Varrock Bank and do bank sales and trade stuff. But we're not all kids anymore. And a lot of people don't have time to fuck around on Zybez or whatnot, or sit around and waste several hours just typing in the same message over and over trying to sell their stuff. So I think it's a cool, like, nostalgic element that I am upset that there is a grand exchange in some way, but I think the pros do outweigh the cons in some regard. I'd be okay with something like Mithril Man mode, though, something where you do have a game mode that is kind of main base where you can trade players, but you have no grand exchange. We don't need teleports to every boss. Sometimes the journey is half the fun. It's not. I learned this lesson with Nightmare. People want to kill bosses. People don't want to be running on repeat to a boss. It's just bad. That's how I personally feel. I think the best system they've ever come up with are teleport scrolls to bosses, because the drop you get from the boss, you can sell it for money if you want. If you enjoy the run, hey, guess what? You can get the teleport and sell them on the grand exchange for bank. But a lot of people love getting back to the boss quickly and getting back into the action immediately. That's how I feel. So that is a hot take. Great job. Gear switching is a dreadful mechanic. Oh, just bring 1 to 2 switches. No. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine this being a dreadful mechanic if you have really bad hardware or you don't have super good hand-eye coordination. Again, this is not an insult. It's just there are people with not great hand-eye coordination skills, and there's also people with really low refresh rate monitors, so it makes it very hard to know where you're clicking. There's people with really shitty mouse sensors, people with bad internet access, people with laggy worlds. Like, yeah, there's a lot of elements that can make gear switching super miserable. I concede. Tick manipulation is the best way to skill. If you have to focus that hard and click that much for an extra 15k XP an hour, especially with all the Rune-like quality of life plugins, then you need to take a break. You no longer enjoy the game. It's not about the game even at this point. Wait. If you have to focus that hard and click that much for an extra 15k XP an hour, I'm confused. I don't actually understand exactly what. I'll just focus on what he says up here. Tick manipulation is the best way to skill. You guys are probably going to imagine I would say yes, it is the best way to skill. I actually don't quite agree with it. I think the best way to skill is to have a very rhythmic sort of skill that you can lock into like a sort of like a flow state. And that does not require tick manipulation. It requires rhythmic skilling where things are anticipatory, where you get satisfaction from clicking something and being able to anticipate something that's happening. It's so hard to like fully articulate it, but knife logging is absolutely not essential at all. It's not. It's just, and in fact, it leads to like worse outcomes because wrist pain is a real thing that people deal with. So anyway, I'm not going to go much more into that. You guys probably already know how I feel. Monkey Room was better before the change. What the fuck? Where did that come from? You could triple, maybe quadruple all XP rates. This is bad. The fact that 16 people upvote that's concerning. Anyway, there's obviously like 1,700 of these comments, so we're not going to jump in every single one of them. And I've been talking for 50 minutes, but I would love to hear how you guys feel about this post. Let me know, what your hot takes are, what you disagree with, what you agree with, what you disagree about that I've had to say. I love opening up this discussion. I love hearing what you guys say. You guys change my mind sometimes too, so it's great. Let me know. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Be sure to drop a like if you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you later. Peace.